And then the last line, I had to guess. And honestly, it sounded to me like I pissed myself in this song, what I have to say. And that's it.
Pissed yourself in the song. Okay.
Yes. It
Yeah,
genuinely sounds like that. Once I had the idea in my head there, I wasn't hearing anything else.
that's great. And I can't say that I blame you. I would have resigned to that being the word as well. Hey, everybody out there. Welcome back to yet another episode of the Audiophiles. John over there in the Zeppelin shirt. It's Andy in the Nike hoodie. And we hope everybody out there is doing well. You know what we do here. And if you don't, we just get together. It's pretty simple. One of us offers up a song to the other goes off and listens to it. And then we come back and discuss it for an ungodly amount of time. And that's what we like. So that's what we're going to do. John, what is the band and what is the song that you want me to go check out?
So the band, by popular demand, well, a couple of people on our website have mentioned this several times over the last year or so. You know who you are. Um, so I've caved in finally. But I kept teasing them by putting some of their covers up. But the band is Bleach.
Oh, okay.
Now, there are about four bands called Bleach, but I think this was the first one. There's a Japanese anime band, and there's a heavy metal fucking Christian band or something. But in none of those, you'll be relieved to hear this is good old Blighty Bleach. Kills 99.9% of germs. And you won't have heard of them, 100%. I don't even have to ask. Um, and the track you'll be listening to is called Seeing.
Okay, cool. Yeah, Bleach is one of those names where, like, if you would ask me if
Yeah,
I've ever heard of them, I'd be like, probably. But there's like myriad songs named that, and as you've just outlined, there's
yeah.
plenty of bands with it too. So, yeah, interesting. I'll endeavor to give this a listen and come back and let you know what I think about it.
Mhm.
This is pretty cool. Love the slow burn nature of that kind of like bass coming through the mist, sort of the darkness, those first 8 seconds of almost silence as it kind of made its way through. And then you get this guitar, just this loud guitar, sort of like a wall. And now it's kind of developed into this lovely little picking that's going on here as well. It's really kind of like the sonic blast. At first, there was like no mistaking it, but now it's kind of like now we're seeing it taking form. It sounds really, really good. I will say the vocalist pretty airy voice, but it's competing with some pretty loud elements, and I don't know if they're too high up in the mix or if the vocals are too low, but it's a little hard to discern. It's not taking away anything. I'm not like, oh God, what could have been. Um, but it is a little. It does get a little lost. But there is this like. That being said, there is this interesting contrast between sort of the forwardness of the music uh, and the airy subtlety to the vocals because they're quite different in that regard. But I enjoy it. I think it's an interesting contrast at the very least, right? There's like this omnipresent nature to the just the pitch of that guitar and how it just stays needling its way into the song, commanding your attention. Every time I try to capture some of these lyrics, it just kind of like for a second I begin to, and then that guitar just wipes my hard drive. It just oh there it is, and it just bores its way into my head. Um, and I like that. I like the nature of that guitar. Um, it's so insistent. Oh, yeah, I loved that. That was like well one it was almost like the producers kind of like pulled the knobs and the levers back a bit, you know what I mean? And then slowly started bringing them up again in the mix. Or it's kind of like being there's two rooms on the other end of a very long hallway, and it's like you're leaving the one room, and as you get further down the hallway the music is becoming fainter, but then you reach the over the halfway marker of that hallway, and now you're getting closer to the other room which is playing the same song, and now it's getting louder as you approach it. So there's this like fade out and then get louder point in this sort of linear motion that you're going through. Really, really cool and fun. Because the on top of that, there's this natural like breaking the music down to rebuild it, but they're also playing with this sort of the musical perspective or the sounds perspective and where it is and where it's coming from. Loved that. Loved it so much. I'm gonna take it back. Now it's getting closer. louder. And I love that da-da-do, on the guitar. Holy shit, it sounds so pretty. Yeah. Well, that was a lovely experience. Guitars numero uno, drums numero dos. Then everything else was kind of there. But I loved the guitars and the drums. The dynamics, the production work was great too. Hell, that should be numero tres. Yeah, I really, really liked this. There were far more great things about this song than there were anything that were I would consider superfluous or even detrimental to the song. There was nothing detrimental to the song. The vocals just I could take or leave. It was just God, the guitars that would have me coming back for more, and those like great dynamics on the drums and in the production work and the sound, especially in that portion where they kind of broke it down to build it back up, and the way the sound was working there, and sort of coming and going. Great shit. Yeah, I don't know anything about these guys. I'm wondering what they would be considered. They've got little dashes of different sounds. I'd venture to say that there's probably, I don't know, some definitely some shoegazy type stuff happening here, but I don't know, the way the vocals almost reminded me of like post punk or some new wave kind of stylings, but I don't know. John will be able to fill in those blanks. There's only one way to get him to do that, and that is going back and joining him. So let's do that.
What did you think?
I loved it. Really,
Yeah.
really liked it. Yeah. Like I would say 90% on this one. God, the fucking guitars, man. Guitars are good in this one. They really were. So a bit of a slow burn to get us started. And there's nothing wildly dragged out, but there is this nice bit of crawling of the bass and the drums and a little bit of guitar stuff for the song before it like properly kicks off. And there's no mistaking like the threshold point or moment when that guitar comes barreling in. You're in the throes of the fucking song. You know what I mean? It's this like you start off. I would imagine it's like you're walking on like a like have you ever had like a bank like sandbanks in the middle of the water that kind of like cuts off the makes it seem shallow
Yeah.
a little bit. Then you take one step off and it's like a 6-foot drop. You're like, boom. That's what it was like. You were creeping and crawling with this little bass intro and the drums, and then all of a sudden, and it was just great. It was awesome. And from that moment on, the guitars really were commanding most of my attention. I tried to stray away, but they would not let me go so easy. It's got this almost droning and whining sound to it, but it's great. So yeah, I use the term droning and whining, and oftentimes that's considered a slight against something or sounds you don't want to be associated with. But when it comes to guitar, that's the shit that really sinks its teeth into me, and I'm just a sucker for it. So yeah, it started off great, instantly got my attention. And shortly after the guitar starts doing some like really lovely dancing over the strings in the form of picking, it takes the edge of the immediacy off the initial power guitar that preceded it. So it's kind of easing its way into the song. It's not as abrasive, but it's doing it in a very fluid fashion. The voice sounds light and airy, but it's a bit buried in the mix for at least for my ears. And I don't know if that's because they're still recovering from the onslaught of guitar that they just endured. But for me, it was a little hard to latch on to what exactly she was saying. Right, this is a female vocalist that we've got on our hands. Yeah. And there was something
Yeah,
almost.
tell me about it. I'm supposed to do the lyrics later. Jesus.
Well, good luck because I hardly caught anything. Um, I will say that the music had um shades of like shoegazy sounds to them, with all the interesting dynamic work being done on the guitar, especially, and even some of the drums. But the vocalist almost had like a new wavy, dreamy kind of aspect to it, which was kind of an interesting dynamic between the sound of the music and the sound of the vocals. I liked it, but it definitely didn't usurp the standing of the guitar in my mind, which was not numero uno in this track. I loved it. Um, I think I'm catching something lyrically about the loss of innocence, but then right as I think I'm picking up on that, the guitar comes back and just wipes my hard drive completely, and just pulls my attention back to it. The omnipresent sustain and pitch of the guitar is enough to suck you into its gravitational pull. It's just so great. There, I think this is best exemplified around the 235 marker of the song to about the 315 marker, when we have these sort of seesaw notes on the guitar and then this frictious sustained strumming that builds a bit of tension in the tune, and then this beautiful picking pattern as the drums kind of build up and around it. Just great stuff. There's this moment when it sounds like the producers take the dials and the knobs and they kind of just all pull them back. Another analogy would be like, let's imagine there are two rooms playing the same song and they're divided by a very long hallway or corridor. You exit one and the sound becomes more and more faint. But just as you're reaching that
Yeah.
halfway point, the sound from the other room starts coming in and creeping in as you get closer. So that's oh God, that was my favorite part of the song. Um, both like from the music standpoint, but also the production standpoint as well. They were both clearly on the same page with what they wanted out of this portion, and they nailed it. It was so good. Yeah, really, that was like sort of the moment I realized how much I liked the song. Um, but then it all comes back as you enter the other room, if you will, and there's just this I don't know, this swirling picking and guitar, that it's a really insistent beat on the drums beneath it as well. And then you get this interesting kind of winding bend, and then the song comes to an end. Yeah, if you haven't already picked up on it, and I haven't said this effusively enough, I really enjoyed this tune a lot. Vocals didn't, blow my doors off, but could have taken a leave in them. But the guitar work and the drums were fabulous in this tune, and I really enjoyed
Excellent. Yeah, this one,
them.
I picked this because this is, in essence, shoegaze. And it's like there's slightly different flavors of shoegaze.
Right? Yeah.
From your My Bloody Valentine to Ride and stuff. And this takes a blend of a couple of different sort of aspects. But yeah. So Bleach was an English rock band from Ipswich, which is right on the East Coast. The football team there are known as the Tractor Boys. So, you get the gist. Usually considered part of the shoegazing era.
Okay.
That's the band Bleach, not Ipswich or the Tractor Boys. So the band was formed in 1989 by brothers Neil and Nick Singleton and joined by two others. So personnel is Sally, and that's SLLI, Carson, vocals, Steve Scott, drummer, and Neil Singleton on guitar and Nick Singleton on bass. The first release that they got going was a year later, the Eclipse EP in 1990. And I do have their EPs, so I didn't produce a whole lot. So I'll take the shiny plastic cover off. It's just I want to show you this because it's classic um, indie covers. So there you go. Yes, that's Baby
Yes.
Birds. I mean,
They're
that's
awaiting
beautiful.
their next meal.
And even the typography on the back is classic indie. And then it's this one. This one is their second
Yes,
one,
yes, yeah. I
Smack.
instantly
That's
recognized
what
it
it's
when I came
taken.
back.
And then the third EP is this one here again, called Shotgun. And yes, that is a big toe. Um,
I'm sorry. You said shotgun and then showed me that image, and it instantly took me. I
yeah.
had a friend in high school who actually shot off one of his toes with a shotgun. So this is really a bit of a nostalgia.
Isn't there isn't there just like everybody in America knows somebody who's
I was
done that?
I was gonna say it's the most American anecdote you'll ever hear. Like, oh yeah, I had a buddy who accidentally blew off an appendage. Yeah, we were in high school.
And yeah, exactly. And then the back of it, you got again another classic sort of indie symbol of like fish. You
Uh-huh.
get that a lot. Bear that in mind because then we get on to their first. They did a compilation album, which is the first three EPs, but their first album proper, Killing Time. Again, it's got you can see that's a shrimp, prawn, whatever you want to call it, on the
Mm.
front, and on the back, more fish.
Ah, excellent. A real pescatarian's dream, that album.
Yeah. So it's a real kind of indie feel to it. So yeah, right. There's not a lot on the internet about them. So, but All Music said of this track you listen to, "Seeing," which I think is the second track on this EP. Um, they said, while Neil Singleton wasn't an obvious disciple of Kevin Shields, My Bloody Valentine, his blend of melody and power here is a more angular approach to the same levels of beautiful stun. Carson's slightly sweeter vocals add to the effect. Yeah, just a note, her vocals are actually usually a lot more stringent and quite almost powerful and forthright.
Interesting. Okay.
Um, this was and she doesn't always like this, but this was very much in the vogue of someone like Lush, where the vocals are very ethereal and buried. Obviously Cocteau Twins,
Yeah.
Elizabeth Fraser's are completely her own separate from Kettle of Fish in terms of her vocal style, but people sort of borrow from that and then adapt it. But the two girls from Lush in particular, very beautiful, but can barely make out what they're saying most of the time. And again, it's down in the mix slightly, so it's almost like strings or something, you know.
Yeah, yeah, you're right. And it not only is it down in the mix, but what oftentimes when you're talking about shoegaze, it's so guitar forward because you want to
Yeah,
hear every twist of the knob or scrape of the string or whatever, you know, shoegazy fuckery is going on in the guitar. That kind of wants to be the focal point. So I get it. I understand it. It's like
yeah,
I said,
it
to
very
take
much.
away from the song.
Yeah, and they don't always go completely shoegaze this band. So what they I'll go into it in a sec. So, 1992 saw the release of Killing Time, we just seen, and that single Shotgun. Now, the interesting thing about that Shotgun is it was a surprising mixture of shoegazy indie rock and rap, sung by the lead singer, female. Um, yes. In 1993, the band released two separate mini albums, Hard and Fast, and the group disbanded shortly thereafter. So the band never really achieved the relative success of someone like their contemporaries that they were compared to, particularly Lush, Ride, and Curve. Um, and the inclusion of rap over shoegaze was definitely something the world wasn't ready for, and probably still won't be for another couple of 100 years. Um, it's not my favorite thing that they've done. I'm sure there's people who love it. I think this is well wonderful, but
Yeah, it's hard to imagine shoehorning
not
those
in this
two genres
house.
together.
Okay, so we're going to and this song I do love. It's beautiful and it has a nice sort of balance to it. It almost pulsates the guitar's coming through. I think it's when shoegaze gets to a point where the effects of the guitars create something else, like a vibration in you or something, when you just taken off somewhere. And the
Mhm.
best shoegazy type that does that. And I think this does it as well. It all comes in waves over the top of you. It's really, really nice. So nowhere on this goddamn planet is there the lyrics to this song. So I mean, even trying to look them up, you just came up with all these stupid goddamn anime bloody episodes of the series called Bleach. I mean, and then this Christian rock thing that, oh my God.
Oh God, I would
So,
have loved to have been a fly on your wall when you were conducting the
so
search.
I listened to the song about 147 times. Um, I reckon I've got a good 65% of it, and I'm very happy with that because there's only about 14 lines in the whole song, actually.
Mhm.
So there are a couple of guesses, and you'll probably be able to see where they are. But here we go. Gonna talk to the sun. I had to close my eyes to stop the blinding light. I'm with my brothers and my sisters. Ate my diamond to the bank. I lost my innocence when I first spied your tears. And then it says something about I know these people are rumor like the lighter shades of grey. I know I hopeless ended candid. And someday, definitely on that, I return to the sun. I return to the sun. I return to the sun. And then the last line, I had to guess, and honestly it sounded to me like I piss myself in this song what I have to say. And that's it.
Pissed yourself in the song. Okay.
Yes. It
Yeah.
genuinely sounds like that. Once I had the idea in my head there, I wasn't hearing anything else.
That's great. And I can't say that I blame you. I would have resigned to that being the word as well. Oh
it's a,
man.
this is a lovely little semi-known song. It's not got a huge fan base. So
Mhm.
the band did actually reunite for two live shows in 2015, some private event, and then one in their hometown of Ipswich, which is nice. But they've all gone off and done different things now, never to be heard of again. So yeah, a not very well known, but I think for people who do, it's quite well loved. It's a cracking little number, and it shows you that most bands were capable of at least one decent tune
Oh
without
yeah.
that.
No, this was definitely if
Uh,
this is
and they've
it,
got
this is
others. They
it.
have got others, but
Yeah,
this is
yeah.
what probably my favorite. So yeah.
Excellent.
Okay, I shall wrap things up and say thanks for listening to this, Andy. And
And
folks
thanks for
out
having me
there,
on.
what do you think? I know that there's at least a couple of people who have an opinion on Bleach. Please drop some comments. Tell us what you think. This song, this band, how much you love stroke hate shoegazing. Yeah, yeah. And please hit the like button if you happen to like this little ditty. If you haven't subscribed already, please do and help us build a bridge of trust and love all the way around the world, or something like that. We do appreciate everybody who does support the channel. And just like no, I won't say that. That's very rude. But just like something else, we're growing every day. And that being said, I do have a filter sometimes. Well done. Um, that being said, thanks again so much for watching, and we'll see all of you on the next episode of the Audiophiles.
See you later, guys.